Yeah, it worked,
Okay.
I believe.
Okay. I got a notification that it's being recorded, so it should be good.
Cool. Okay. Hello, everybody. As we all know, my name is Erin Van Draska, and I decided to do a classroom on leadership because that is the committee I'm in, so I get some committee points. But besides that, like, I actually value leadership a whole lot. I took a class on it first semester, sophomore year here at ISU, and then I was chosen to be a mentor for that class yet again the following semester. So I kind of have a good overview of what leadership is about, but the fun part is we get to explore it together today. Okay, so what is leadership? Leadership is the action of leading a group of people / organization. That's what Google says. But what I think leadership is being able to successfully provide a group of people with the correct resources to reach their goal. And the reason I think that is because, like, being a leader isn't just like showing up and being like, hey, I'm the leader today. Like, being a leader is being reliable and always being there to provide your group or whoever you're leading with the resources or like opportunities to become better citizens or better people in general. So if you could provide the resources, then you're already like step one in my book of being a leader. So what's the difference? Pretty much like what I said, it's how you want to be seen in the world. So you could just sit there and be like, today is not my day, and that's kind of boring. Or you can choose to like push those issues aside and step up and become that leader, even if you're having like an off day. So there's two types of leaderships. Yes, Emily.
What happens if sometimes the best leadership you can do is passing on the role to someone else if you don't feel comfortable? Have you ever had an experience like that?
Yes. So something like that, like working on group projects in 2 classes. I can be overpowering in leadership positions, but I learned today, for instance, that I needed to step back from my role as being like alpha dog and let my partner work on some of the project too, because if I'm alpha dog all the time, then it's not good. Like, it's just poo. Like, you can't do everything by yourself because what your style is going to be 10 times different from the next person to the next person to the next person to the next person. Like, everyone's got their style. So when you collaborate and make harmony, then like every style is presented to you and you have to like split the roles and become that leader in a different sense. Okay, thank you for the question, Emily. So there's 2 types of leaderships that I learned in my leadership class, big L and little L leadership. I still take this to heart because I kind of didn't realize there was 2 types of leaderships until I learned about them. So there's big L and little L. And what are they? So big L leadership is the leadership roles we constantly see in everyday life. So we have like being a president of something, the CEOs of companies and industries, coaches, teachers, etc. Like, all these people we see as leaders because that's what we've been exposed to in our daily life. Like, we just know like, oh, they're probably pretty important, so they must be like a leader or something. And like, we think about it, and like if you guys think about it, like leadership, just, like when I first took a class on leadership, I was like, okay, this is dumb. Like, I already know everything I could know. Like, a leader is a leader. That's it. But like when we started digging deeper into like big L and little L, it kind of started making more sense. Like, okay, big L leadership is like the ones that have the big macho like titles, like I said, presidents and CEOs, where as in little L, it's like the little men of the world. There's little L leaderships because we don't usually think of them as being a leader. So that's like helping someone out with homework. Like, you're technically a leader. It doesn't seem like it at the time, but you're technically a leader. Sometimes teachers aren't seen as like being a leader. I know I looked up to most of my teachers in elementary through high school because I thought they were all pretty cool because I had pretty cool teachers. But sometimes they're just pushed to the side because it's just another person. Tour guides are a great example of being a leader because you're in the middle of no man's land and you're going on a tour. You could get lost or injured, and they're there to help you. But pretty much little L leadership roles are the ones that go to the wayside. We forget about them because, like I said, they're not really like considered mainstream leadership roles. They're kind of just like the little microscopic ones that we kind of forget about on a day-to-day basis. And it's kind of sad because if you think about it, every day we're kind of doing little L leadership roles and we're not even knowing it. And especially in a time like we are in Corona Day, being a leader seems a little more tricky because we're not sure who to look up to or who to trust anymore in some instances. But you can start being that little leader to your next door neighbor's son or your next door neighbor's daughter or your own child. Like, they're going to look up to you and they're going to be like, cool, this is who I'm going to follow in the days to come because that's all they know. You're just doing the little things in life to like guide them along. Okay, so why is leadership important? Leadership is important because, it helps us get the day-to-day tasks done in like a timely manner. I'm so sorry, my allergies are bothering me. So leadership also helps us learn about ourselves. So kind of like what kind of styles we like, how we carry ourselves as leaders, and just learning in general how we carry ourselves in a day-to-day like normal social setting. And we get the opportunity to try new roles in a group/team. And I think those are kind of important, just those 3 bullets, because learning about yourself is like a mind-blowing experience. Like, I took a personality test, and not one of those like basic BuzzFeed personality tests. Like, this thing gave me answers that I was just confused about. And I know Emily can relate to that one too. But besides the point, like, I learned about myself and then I applied those styles of leadership that the test gave me into a group project I had that semester, and holy cats, that project was pretty baller in the end. Like, I don't know, I don't want to be modest here and nothing against any other groups, but like, we had a pretty cool facilitation that semester. Like, I was pretty proud of it. I know Emily was proud of it. We had our moments, but hey, it all worked out. And that was like one of the best leadership experiences that I think I had since being in college. Like, I was working alongside Emily and we both were like panicking at certain points and we're like, oh my God, this isn't going to happen. Turns out it was just our leadership styles like kind of overtaking us a little bit, and we needed to step back and let other people's leadership styles step in and take up the work that we were like feeling stressed about. And miraculously, it worked. It was beautiful. It turned into a calm ocean.
When Malik was putting together the boxes before our facilitation. Yes, that was a great example. Me and Emily were panicking because one of our group mates was like, oh my, like just putting the last finishing touches. And when we say he was putting together boxes, like this man was legit taping boxes together like 2 minutes before we were starting. And our teacher was like, okay, like we gotta start now. We're like, yeah, we're working on it. But you know, that was his leadership style. Like, he didn't really want to get things done too much in advance, and that's fine. Some people like doing that, but personally for me, I gotta have stuff done like a week in advance before it's due, and then I gotta stare at it for a couple days and be like, is this what I really want to turn in? So that's how I learned about myself. Sophomore year, first semester, I learned that I am a super perfectionist, and sometimes that's okay in certain leadership roles, and other times it's kind of like, maybe we should take a step back and consider something else or consider somebody else for that leadership. And my last little statement on this slide is, with leadership and like put in place, there will not be as much chaos, because when a leader's defined, everyone's going to know like, okay, that's my leader today. I'm going to listen to him or her, and I'm going to carry myself to their standards.
no matter what. Okay, so how can you be a leader? There are so many different ways to become a leader and or learn about leadership. I did it kind of unknowingly by taking a class. I was just shoved into a class by my advisor, and because it was part of my major, and I was like, cool, I'm gonna do this. And like I said, at first I was kind of like, this is kind of dumb, but then I decided to take a leadership role within that class and become a mentor for the following semester. And I had the greatest experience both times. I love the teacher. She's actually a family friend of ours, or my family, and she's a lovely lady. But I wanted to pretty much retake her class, but from a different perspective, and I learned probably even more the second time through because I wasn't busy scribbling down notes or like writing diagrams or anything or worrying about a facilitation. Like, I was just there to be there and help the other students learn who they were as leaders. Now, granted, that leadership experience kind of got changed in the middle, and we had to go to Zoom sessions, and that kind of got harder to connect with the students. But all 6 of us, was there 6 of us? Yeah, all 6 of us who were mentors last semester were like, you know what, we still want to be this person that they can come to for guidance or just questions. And we exposed ourselves on the internet a little bit. Like, we made ourselves vulnerable, and sometimes that was just what we needed to do. You can become involved with a project, school project, campus-wide project, community, nation, whatever. Becoming involved, you can take a minor role, but that minor role is still considered a leadership role because you're still a leader to somebody, even if it's like organizing the books at the library and you have like 5 other people. You're the one who knows the most, and they're gonna look up to you. Another thing to do to become a leader or learn about leadership is to push yourself outside your comfort zone. You can have a tiny comfort zone at the beginning because that's acceptable, but once you start learning, it's going to grow, grow, and grow. And soon your comfort zone isn't going to be the size of a quarter. It's going to be the size of like a pancake, and then a balloon, and then, I don't know, a planet maybe. I don't know if you get that extreme. Like that, you're just going to keep growing because your comfort zone is going to keep growing. But whatever way you choose, you have to live up to the expectations that you set for the group at the beginning of the project or event. Because if you start letting them slip a little, then your group mates are going to start slipping, and then it's also all going to come to a crashing halt. And that's when you get into a group think situation, and you don't want to be involved with that. And what is group think? It's when you all say like, yep, that idea is great, but you don't really like do anything with it. You just kind of sit there with the idea and you just do the minimal work possible. Not fun, not cool. So set high expectations, because yeah, you're gonna fall a little, but as long as they're set high, if they slip like 2 or 3 times, like it's not that big of a deal. Like, you have the whole project to rebuild yourself up, gain that stamina, and just move on. But remember, and this is one important takeaway, there's no right way to be a leader because everyone has their own individual leading style. Yeah. So, how does leadership relate to APO? Well, it's one of our 3 pillars, as we all know, that we live up to through service work and other activities, both campus, fraternity, nationwide, and our community. APO provides so many opportunities for leadership and to work on your skills throughout the semester. Thanks to Audrey, we have amazing workshops, amazing Zoom info classroom thingies. I don't even know what to call them because there's so many of them. She's allowing us to watch TED Talks and learn from their leadership role. We have Leads Day, and there's so many other ways to be involved in leadership through APO. I personally love to just sit there and look at all the events for leadership because I think each one is different and unique in their own way. And once again, you get to learn about your style within those different classrooms or workshops. And like the person that's leading it could be completely different from you, but you're learning something about yourself in that way. I think that's kind of fun. So yeah, like I said, there's so many ways through APO that you can learn and practice your leadership skills. So how can you become a leader in APO? Different ways. Once again, there's so many different positions in APO, including VP of Leadership, VP of Service, VP of Fellowship, President, Secretary, Treasurer, all those big, gosh dang it, roles in APO who present their wonderful slides every Tuesday night to us. They're all leadership roles. Treasurer, leadership. Secretary, leadership. Because even though it's not like, oh, VP of Service or VP of Leadership or VP of Fellowship or the President, like, those people still put in time and countless hours to make sure that the section of our chapter that they are running is done to perfection or to their perfection, and they're leading us to success by having it in their style of leadership. Even being part of the leadership committee, like that is a leadership role because other people can bounce off ideas off of you. You get to hold a classroom. It's pretty darn cool. Even creating an event on APO Online that's yours or was not originally put on by the VP of that committee counts as being a leader because you're taking your time to lead a group in something else, whether it's service, fellowship, leadership, like all that. You're doing it. You're taking your own time. You're wanting to show what you can do as a leader by exposing yourself, putting yourself into a vulnerable position of like, oh my gosh, this could go epically bad or it could go really good. Either way, you're doing it, and I'm proud of you for that. So are there any questions?
I have none, but you did a very good job, Erin.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Well, thank y'all for coming. I had a blast.